Hello, and welcome, my friends, to the next video in the Create Better Content series, where I show you how to tap into your creativity so that you can stay consistent with your marketing and reach more customers. My name is Penny, and I'm going to guide you through this content development process. It's been my goal this year to help you create engaging content, remarkable content, amazing content, all of those things we use in our sales pages and our email sequences and our social media posts, all of those things that we use to reach more qualified customers. And if you want to learn more about creativity and how this can help you develop your content marketing plans, I would love to see you hit that button below and subscribe to this channel. And below in the description box, there are several links. One that you're going to see is for the Content Prompt Playbook. This is for those of you who are trying to use ChatGPT to help you write your social media posts, and you're struggling because it looks like it's just a bunch of words that everybody else is using and about 10,000 emojis. So the Content Prompt Playbook is going to help you actually learn how to talk to ChatGPT so it gets what you need. It gives you some plug and play prompts to help you think about the questions that you need to actually create your marketing messages that people are going to actually respond to and take action from. The next link that you're going to see, or one of the other links you'll see, is that you can join us in the Marketing Strategy Collective program, and you can personally work with me to develop your own remarkable content and do it in a supportive group online space and learn what it feels like to actually get some help and do it in a way that you don't feel like you're all by yourself and working in a solo bubble. So you see the links below, you know what to do to learn more. All right, so let's jump into this today. As this year is coming to the close, and this is my last video episode of 2025, I want to talk about something that feels really important to me right now. And it's something that I think that gets often overlooked in the holiday rush and we're closing out our business at the end of the year and let's plan and let's get ahead for the new year and this whole goal setting stuff that we all do here at the end of the year. What I want to talk about is not just all of those things that we do, but you personally and how you are moving into the next year with your business. Not that I want you to sit here and list out what your business goals are. Not what I want you to talk about what you're launching or what platforms that you're going to focus on. What I want you to think about and want to talk about today is how we get over the finish line of 2025 and move us into the new year. Because this transition itself of moving from one year to the next year really matters more than I think you might even realize. So I want to get into this today because I know there's a lot of noise going on online. This has been a hard year, a really, really hard year for a lot of people on so many levels, not just for our businesses, not just in our personal lives, but probably both of these things combined. And so there's all this noise online telling us that January is going to be this reset button. New year, new you, new systems, new strategy, new habits, new goals. Well, and I love the idea of that because I love a fresh start. There's nothing I love better than opening up January, my new planner and my new calendar and all of those things, and they're blank and they're empty and it's like a whole fresh year. I love that. But I do want to kind of push back on this idea that it's a new you, new year, all this stuff. Because the idea that I wanted to bring, what I want to talk about today is we get so excited about this new year, but then what happens is we're dragging our old us, our old business, our old habits, our old strategies into the new year. So what I want you to do is I want you to definitely move forward. But I want you to think about this intentionally. And that's today's message is going to be about intention and moving into the new year, transitioning from this year into the next year with intention. And I want you to take some time before when we probably, the January 1st is kind of in the middle of the year. It's going to be one of those weird weeks. So imagine most of us will jump back in on January 5th. And so before you actually jump back in on January 5th, I want you to think about this. I want you to spend some time thinking about intention, about slowing down enough to notice where your business is, where you are. I want you to acknowledge the things that happened this year. The fact that you showed up this year, even when it felt messy, even when it was hard, even when your motivation was just at its edge, and even when life demanded more of you than you probably had to give. Knowing that you showed up and acknowledging that matters. And if nobody has said this to you yet, I will. And I'm going to sit here and tell you that I see you and I see your courage, and I applaud you for showing up and spending your time with your business this year, and in such a struggle that this has been, and that you're still here. Because there's something that I have learned over time, and having been in business for 25 plus years, I can honestly tell you this is a true statement here. The way that you end your year really does influence and shape how you begin the next one. So when you rush through your planning, and when you have all this unresolved energy within you, doubt and exhaustion and unfinished thoughts and creative blocks, that's what comes with you. So it's not a new year, not a new you. It's the old stuff. It's the old you. It's the old business. It's the old habits. It's the old mindset. So I want you to end this season, end this year intentionally. And when you do that, it allows you to have more clarity. Clarity moving forward. And not just about what worked for your business and what didn't, and what more do you want, and what are you ready to leave behind. Because clarity isn't just about judgment and looking at our analytics and deciding which social media platform we need to be spending more time on. It's about having this awareness. So before we open up another planner or download another one of those goal setting templates, that there's dozens of them already on Pinterest right now, I'm going to invite you to ask yourself some questions and to slow down and to get some intentional clarity about where you are and how you're going to move forward. Think about things like, where did you feel your energy the strongest this year? And that could have everything to do with a social platform that you were on versus the fact that you finally got into your groove in doing videos. Where did it feel drained? Was there something that the trends were telling you you really needed to be on this particular program, but every time you did it, you found every excuse not to do it, and it just drained you, and it just added to your exhaustion and overwhelm? So think about it from that place. I want you to feel like, what was the awareness of what happened, and what were you pushing to keep up with, and where did your creativity feel most alive? These questions are not really a distraction from your strategy and your marketing plans. If we think about this kind of information, they inform it. They provide the foundation for something that where we can be intentional, and we have our purpose, and we can see intentional growth. Yes, intentional growth, because so many business owners out there tell me, I want to grow next year. But growth without intention is exhaustion, and it's overwhelming, and it just feels like you're hitting a wall because you're just doing everything all at once, but there's no intention to it. There's no purpose to it. And when we talk about intentional growth, we look at different kinds of questions like, what kind of growth am I looking at that supports not just the business that I have, but the life that I want? Sometimes growth means more money. Sometimes growth means growing your visibility so you can reach more customers. Sometimes growth means developing a better system and process so that we can get more done. Sometimes growth is having confidence in ourselves, enough to know that our products and our services can help the people that we're out there trying to help. Sometimes growth is understanding what our capacity is and then working alongside of what we can physically and realistically do, and getting more done. And sometimes it means not growing in certain areas. Intentional growth gives you permission to choose and to see where you're going to move your business forward. And when we think about intentional growth, I'm going to connect this to one of the things that I have been talking about all year long: reskilling, learning new skills. Not in that do more, learn more, keep up with all these trends kind of way, but reskilling and learning in a grounded, supportive way. When we think about reskilling, we think about learning all these new skills, what we're doing is we're choosing this opportunity to see intentional growth in our business. Because what we're doing is we're adding more opportunities to it. We're basically telling ourselves that it's not a new, shiny new thing that we're doing. What we're doing is we are creating opportunities for momentum in our business. And when I'm referring to that, reskilling and learning new skills, I'm talking about like understanding storytelling. So if you learn storytelling and you learn how to use it and make it feel more natural, your messages are going to be emotionally connected. Hence, you're going to get more people that are going to actually engage with your content. So you see what I mean? Another thing I'm talking about reskilling is building systems. Understanding a program or a process and understanding how this is not reinventing the wheel every week, but showing you how to do something faster, being more efficient, being able to scale your business, because now this system that you've created has given you the opportunity that what something was normally going to take you 5 hours now only takes you an hour. So you've saved 4 hours. That's reskilling, learning something new that's going to help your business. And so when we think about intentional growth, we also want to make sure that we think about how we're going to improve and show momentum in our business. What are we going to be learning? What are we going to be reskilling? What do we need to keep doing, to keep learning, to keep showing up in our business? And I want you to understand that it's not about learning every single skill that's out there, showing up for every single trend. What you need are the ones that are right for your business and your marketing. So we've talked about this a little bit with regards to reskilling and intentional growth. But I want to bring in another piece of this too. So I want to take us and slow us down even more. And I want to talk about something that I have consistently referred to as your creative energy. Because I truly believe that we all have the ability to be creative. We all have the ability to tap into our creativity. And it doesn't mean that we are professional painters or writing the great American novel. What it means is that creativity is something that isn't just extra. It's not treated like a bonus. You can do the creativity after the real work is done. Creativity is what helps you start to see patterns. Your creativity, when you tap into that creative energy, it helps you make these connections. It helps you come up with ideas that sound like your business. It helps you build your business that feels human instead of being, robotic. And your creativity doesn't thrive in constant, persistent urgency. Your best insights aren't going to come from your desk. They're going to come from when you give your brain the space to wander. And that's why creative practices matter, especially now at the end of the year as we are trying to transition from this year into the next year. And as you move forward into this year, I want you to think about your creativity and spending time in your creative energy. That it's not like a thing to do that we want to check off. It's something that when we intentionally spend more time in this space and this creative energy, we receive insights, we receive aha moments, and these are the pieces and parts that are going to connect your strategy together, that's going to connect your content calendar to the work that you're doing, to the launch that you're doing, to the products that you're serving. And so I want you to think about it from that place. And when I'm talking about your creative energy, I am not talking about how I want you to paint, the portrait that's going to hang in a fancy museum. What I'm talking about is taking a walk and doing it in a different neighborhood so you notice different things that you're not used to seeing. That sparks creative thought in your brain. Spending time in your creative energy, if you're able to sit outside and watch the sky change colors, watching the sunset, watching the sunrise, that taps into your creativity. When you work in your garden, when you're baking something, when you're listening to music and you let your thoughts drift, those are the moments that we're tapping into our creative energy. And they may look like you're just doing something else or maybe even unproductive. But I'm going to tell you right now, after years and years of doing this is where the clarity shows up. This is where the new ideas emerge. This is where old ideas get rearranged or updated. This is when decisions start to get clear. This spending time in your creative energy, whether it's baking a cake or sitting outside in your garden for 15 minutes, this is what's going to create space for you, and the space is what creates the insight. So as you're standing here or sitting there listening, and as we're approaching the beginning of a new year, I want to offer you this. I want you to spend some time before you move into January, not hustling, not rushing around, not thinking that you have to have it all figured out. What I want you to do is to think about intention, your intention. Intention on how you're going to set your goals. Intention on how you're going to choose what you are going to be learning, what skills you're going to pick up. Intention about how you're going to protect your energy. Intention about how you can make space for creativity. Intentional growth. It may be a little quieter and it may not feel so pressured and heavy, but it's steadier and it lasts longer. So as you close out this year, I want you to do this small thing for yourself. Take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and step away from your screen. If you can go outside, go outside. And just sit somewhere and be quiet and breathe and ask yourself, what do I want this next year to feel like? And let that answer guide everything else. So I just wanted to share that with you today because this is my final video for 2025. And as it's my final one, I just want to wrap up and I wanted to say thank you to everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up for your business. Even during those days and times when it just wasn't all that easy. And I hope you give yourself permission before we hit that January start date to rest, reflect, reconnect. Think about what's intentional for you and the growth of your business. So if this episode is giving you some ideas to start learning some new skills for your marketing, I would love it if you would hit that like button and then hit the share button and share it with another business owner who needs to hear this end of the year message. But I'll be here with you. I'll be here and I'll be here for you in the new year. We're going to talk about more reskilling, talk about more growth, talk about more building and how you are going to see intention with your business. Until then, protect your creative energy and trust that you are exactly where you need to be. Because you are magnificent, my friend. And let me be the first to say, I'm proud of you. Until next time, when I see you in the new year.